Welcome to the Unwanted Matter miniseries. This miniseries was written and narrated by Matt Spear and published with the help of Junior Art Lab. Episode 4, An Alliance, Part 1. A cold sweat drips down the brothers' faces as the sweat hits the tables that they are strapped to. Above them, the hunters stand over, ready to take them to the master. As Mark lies on the table, he closes his eyes. This time, there was no way out. The hunters had them fooled too good. They had deceived them into thinking that they were a scientist who could help them, and instead put themselves into a danger even worse than the CIA had been. Hunter 1 turns to the other hunters. 4. It is time. Take these two to the master. Hunter 4 grabs the two brothers. Stop, Hunter 3 warns. There's a satellite right above us. I can see it from here. Blue dust flies into the sky, manifesting into the satellite. The blue dust begins fading. I'm losing connection. We won't be able to teleport until the satellite passes over, Hunter 3 informs. Hunter 1 holds his hand out into the air. He is right. How long until it passes over? Hunter 2 looks up at the dust. Maybe 20 minutes? Hunter 1 nods. 4. Guard these two for us. The rest of us will make plans for when our freedom is restored. It has been so long since they were nothing more than just explorers traveling the galaxy. If they had known what would happen when they touched down on the Master's planet, they never would have. The three hunters leave the room, leaving Hunter 4 to guard them. And Hunter 4 is quite unhappy about this job. He's always being pushed around by Hunter 1 for one job or another. Mark and Stephen, however, are very happy with this news. This means that they have a chance to escape. Mark turns over to Stephen, a spark of hope within him. This is our chance to cut ourselves out, Mark mouths. Stephen nods in understanding and quickly fastens a knife from his hands. He looks over to Hunter 4. He's not even looking at them. He's standing in the door, mumbling to himself. Stephen quickly cuts himself free and bends over and cuts Mark free. Hunter 4 is still standing in the corner, oblivious to the brothers' activities behind him. Mark extends his hand at the door. The screws in the door disappear and the door comes crashing down on top of Hunter 4. The brothers run into the hallway and outside the door. They reach the front door of the house. Mark opens the door to find Hunter 4 waiting for them. This is the second time that Mark has fallen for this trap. Hunter 4 tries to grab the brothers, but they run in the opposite direction. The two of them run down the hallway. Their legs are burning. They quickly descend into the basement. The basement is a cold, dark place with walls made of hard cement and broken light bulbs on the ceiling, flashing on and off in a blank, dreary white. The room would fill with bright lights for a few seconds, then change back to black for a few seconds. Big, bulky pipes line the walls, many of which have holes in them. Some shoot out large gusts of air, making a screeching metal sound. Others shoot water from them, causing the ground to flood into puddles of water ankle high. Electrical wires dangle from the ceiling, falling into the puddles of water and causing sparks of electricity to dance everywhere across the room. The brothers run down into it. Stephen pauses at the doorway. Mark, however, does not have such fears of the room and runs into it. He never thinks about the consequences involved. He doesn't even stop to think about what dangers could happen inside the room. Stephen lets out a shriek. On the ground beside him is the body of Dr. Kango. That's how the hunters got him. The door to the basement slams open, and Hunter 4 comes rushing down. Although Stephen is fearful of the room, it is better than dealing with the hunters. He's willing to take his chances with the sparks. Hunter 4 runs in front of Stephen and slashes him in the face. Stephen falls into a puddle of water. He is soaking wet and chilled. Goosebumps run down his arm. He gets up and runs into the storm of sparks, taking a chance. Hunter 4 attempts to teleport to Steven. However, when he tries, it does not seem to work. His teleportation keeps glitching, and he's still standing in the same place. Across the room, Mark waves to his brother. He holds his hand towards the basement wall, and it disappears, showing the backyard of the house. He and Steven run out of it. Hunter 4 comes rushing towards them, the sparks bouncing off of his shiny armor. Steven holds his hands towards the wall. It reappears just as Hunter 4 rams into it. He stumbles back on the ground and falls. The other hunters, especially Hunter 1, will not be happy to hear about this. In a top-secret CIA base off the coast of Canada, agents lounge in the cafeteria, waiting for something to do. Many have packed up and left the base. In the garage, FBI agents rush into the base and head towards the director's office. Victoria is in the lab, reviewing the security footage from what had happened with the brothers. She's very unsettled by what she's watching. She keeps fidgeting in her seat. Her eyes widen and tears form in her eyes. Anger boils in her chest as well. She cannot believe what she's seeing. Victoria stands up and runs down to Cassador's office. She needs to speak with him immediately. He needs to explain to her what he did. Victoria runs into the office. However, she is stopped by an FBI agent. "Sorry, ma'am, but no one is allowed past this point." Victoria clenches her fists. Sweat is dripping down her face. Her heart is beating out of pure anger. "Let me past. I need to speak with him." Victoria tries to walk past again. However, the agent stops her once more. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but you cannot speak with a convict at this time." Victoria gasps. "What do you mean, convict?" she demands. Just then, John Cassador walks out of his office, handcuffed and escorted by 2 FBI agents. Victoria glares at him. How dare he do what he did? Deep in the depth of space, the hunters slowly walk into the temple of the Master. They are very concerned of how the Master will react to their failure. Last time, he was very unpleased, but willing to give them a second chance. However, more than likely, there will not be a third. The hunters enter the temple cautiously. A low rumble comes from the middle of the temple chamber as the hunters step in. A bright shine of purple light flashes out. The hunters can feel a sense of pure rage and anger coming from the light. It cannot be described how it feels, just that a presence of strong anger and rage in the air. Hunter 1 swallows slowly. Hunter 4 has something he would like to say. Hunter 1 turns to Hunter 4. "I'm very sorry, Master. It was an accident. The brothers slipped through our fingers," he says weakly. The door to the temple chamber slams shut. It is the only way out. "Didn't I say that it is imperative we capture souls?" the Master yells. "Yes, sir," Hunter replies, his voice shaking. "After all these years, maybe you don't value your freedom as much as I thought. Maybe I should trap your souls into the temple to suffer for all of eternity. Or maybe I should just consume yours and hope for the best." Hunter 2 steps up. "No, Master, that is not necessary. Please, we can find the brothers." "Silence!" the Master yells. Hunter 2 falls back to her knees. Hunter 4 is then levitated in the air. "I gave you all one job to do, and you blew it. I observed the whole incident. Hunter 4, you have failed me, and for that you shall die." "Please, no! Give me one more chance!" "There will not be another chance. I told you that I do not tolerate failure, but it seems that my warning to you meant nothing. Now you will learn that my threats are not empty ones." Hunter 4 squirms in the air, but it is no use. He is completely helpless. A loud hiss comes from the walls of the temple. An orange light bursts out in the air, illuminating the entire temple. "It is time to find out if your soul is enough to give me a physical form. White mist comes out of the temple wall and shoots towards Hunter 4. As the mist touches him, his skin starts disintegrating. Hunter 4 feels the extreme burning sensation as the mist incinerates him. I now sentence you to death, he screams louder than before. The other hunters keep their heads at the floor. Fear grips in their throats. Hunter 2 is shaking uncontrollably. Tears shine in Hunter 3's eyes. Hunter 4's blood drips on the ground as the last of him disappears and his screams fade out into nothingness. The mist starts to disappear and the scraping noise dies down. Let him be an example to the rest of you. I do not tolerate failure. He shall now learn the eternal consequences as he spends the rest of eternity into nothingness. A burst of purple light shoots into Hunter 1. Hunter 1 freezes. He's so scared he is barely breathing. Hunter 1, I just gave you Hunter 4's abilities. That shall help you bring the brothers to me. You all have one last chance. Bring me the brothers, or you shall all join Hunter 4. Get to work! The hunters slowly stand up and leave the temple. They have only one last chance to get the brothers, and if they fail, then that will be the end of them. As the sun begins to set around the city, the rush hour traffic begins. Horns honking as the bright sun reflects off of various buildings. On the top floor of Stephen's metropolitan condo, Mark and Stephen walk through the front door. Stephen runs straight towards the security camera systems. Maybe they can learn something more about the hunters on there, something that can help them avoid the hunters and capture them. Mark walks into the front hall. The entire condo is still torn apart when the hunters broke in. The chandelier is lying on the floor in pieces. Broken glass sits on the floor, shining in the sun. There are many holes in the wall, and small sections of the floor are missing. Mark looks out the window and stares at the city above. He can spot the park that he touched the rock. If he had known what would happen back then, he would not have ever gone near it. He should have listened to Stephen. Stephen walks up to Mark. I downloaded some of the footage onto my phone. Mark nods as Stephen turns on his phone. At that moment, the door to the condo opens as someone walks inside. Mark and Stephen, both still on high alert from what happened earlier, hide under the broken kitchen table. As the person gets closer, the brothers can make out that it is Victoria. She has come to pick up some of Billy's toys and clothes for him. Anger boils in Stephen's chest. He breathes in deeply and stands up. How could you? He screams. How could you want to dissect me? Me, your own husband, the father of my son. Victoria holds up her hands. I am sorry. I did not know what Cassador was planning. He was arrested just a few hours ago. Mark gets up from under the table. He takes the security footage and starts looking through it in the living room. Stephen stares at Victoria. Then why did you try and take my own son away from me? I was trying to protect Billy. I did not want him to get hurt if the intruders returned. Stephen tilts his head. What do you mean? Last time I saw them, they put Billy in danger. I could not let that happen to him again. Stephen breathes in slowly. Then why did Cassador give you a promotion? Probably because Cassador is insane and was trying to thank me in his own twisted way. I don't know. I'm sorry, Stephen. Tears form in Victoria's eyes. Stephen looks at her. How do I know you're telling the truth? I never meant for this to happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When I found out what Cassador did, I was livid at him. All I want is our love back. Tears roll down her face. She clearly feels sorry and is telling the truth. Stephen hugs Victoria. I think I found something, Mark yells from the other room. As they enter the room, Mark shows them the video. It is when Hunter 4 was grabbing Mark by the door and the chandelier fell on top of him. Mark pauses the video right before it happens. Hunter 2 is looking up at the chandelier and is flashing small purple lights. Mark stares at the screen. His eyes widen. So do Stephen's. The same thing happened with the hunters this morning. Do you know what this is? Stephen stares into the screen. His mind races back to the morning. The hunters could not teleport until a satellite passed over them, and one of the hunters said that there was no connection. A huge smile spreads across Stephen's face. A rush of joy flows over him. They need a signal to something in space in order for their powers to work. If we take away that signal, their power's gone. Mark smiles as well. This could be the key to defeating the hunters. How do you think we trap them? Stephen asks. Maybe if we find a way to lure them back to the house this morning, then we can lock them in the basement. Their powers didn't seem to work there. The brothers smile. If this works, then they will be safe from the hunters. Together, Mark, Stephen, and Victoria begin to find a way to take the fight to the hunters. Will the brothers find the hunters? Even then, will they be able to work together and beat them? Come back for part 2 of the Unwanted Matter miniseries, episode 4. Thank you for listening.